Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's Volcano Report. As always, I'm here live from Sydney, Australia, and this week we are very lucky to have our correspondent being Marc, a world-famous volcanologist here from Hamburg, Germany. Welcome, Marc. It's good to have you here.
Hello, and thank you, Jill, for introducing me. And I'm very pleased to be part of this week's Volcano Report.
This week we have a very interesting volcano to show you. This volcano caused a huge amount of damage and altered this whole entire region around it. This volcano had one of the most explosive and violent eruptions in the whole 20th century. It erupted on June 6, 1912, with the eruption lasting over 60 hours. This volcano was located on the Alaskan Peninsula. Any thoughts of what this might be, Marc?
Well, of course, I'm a volcanologist, and I study this for at least 3 to 5 years already. And I guess it's Nova Rupta.
Well, that's spot on, Marc. Yes, it would be a very interesting volcano to study, but anyway, we must continue with the program, which, of course, I must tell you all. So, firstly, we'll have a small talk about Nova Rupta and inform you all about all about it. Then we'll go and see the volcano itself. While on site, we will talk to a native villager who has had stories of the Nova Rupta eruption passed from his great-great-great-great-grandfather all the way down to him. So, Marc, let's get all the information out on the table now, shall we?
Okay, that sounds like a very good idea.
So let's start off with the volcano. Nova Rupta was a Plinian pyroclastic vent with a plug dome. Can you explain to us what that is, Marc?
Well, of course, it means that this volcano had a very violent and explosive eruption. This dome of the volcano was a plug dome, as you already said. But it means that a plug dome is usually very deep and can project whatever's inside, the magma, lava, and sulfur, and all the rocks out of it very violently. And since it was a Plinian pyroclastic volcano, which means it was extra explosive, like Mount St. Helens, as you all know, most probably. Yeah. And after it erupted, the dome collapsed, forming a caldera.
Okay. So now that we know it's on the Alaskan Peninsula, I'll give you the exact locations. So, it was located on the Alaskan Peninsula, USA. This volcano was at an elevation of 2,759 feet. That's 841 meters. It was at a latitude of 2,654 northward, and a longitude of 155.1591
westward. This volcano we're talking about was located on the North American plate. It's very simple, right?
Yeah, that's pretty simple, just on the American plate. So, Marc, how many times has Nova Rupta erupted?
Well, the 1912, or this eruption we're talking about, was the first ever recorded one.
Now we're going to show you some pictures of Nova Rupta.
Sure.
Now, Marc has just gone to get the helicopter and all the gear ready for us so we can actually go and have a look at this volcano. But in the meantime, I'll give you a sense of where it was and an artist's impression of how it erupted. So, here are the pictures. The first picture we have is of the map, the region. Here we have the Katmai caldera, so that's Mount Katmai there, the Nova Rupta dome, and the southwest trident. Now, I'll explain a bit about this. So, when the Nova Rupta erupted, it actually didn't have a big magma chamber with lots of magma in it. All the magma was stored under Mount Katmai. Stop me. The lava went under a channel. This is 10 miles here from Mount Katmai to Nova Rupta. It traveled 10 miles to the Nova Rupta dome, where all of the lava from Mount Katmai was erupted out of Nova Rupta. So then there was also this one here, which erupted later on. So this is an artist's impression of the eruption. So there would have been the lava coming through cracks, and this would be the crust here. There would be water and steam, and the lava would be shooting up this pipe here, and then freezing on the top where the water was, and also shooting up here as well. So, I mean, this wouldn't be exactly how it would have been, but that's an artist's impression of how it would. Hello and welcome back. As of the rough terrain down here in Alaska, we cannot actually land on the ground, but we're getting a bird's eye view with our helicopter. So, here we are. Here's Novarupta right there, okay? What a sight that is.
Yeah, pretty amazing, huh?
So, we've reached the site now. Mark, can you tell us more about the damage that Novarupta caused?
Well, Novarupta is over here, right? Right here. All the lava that it spewed out went down through this way. And it didn't cause the damage that most volcanoes do nowadays in destroying houses and killing people. But it did alter the entire Mount Katmai region, this area.
So no houses or people were destroyed because this is a pretty remote area. And so it's just pretty much lots of mountains and stuff here. So there were no deaths that have been recorded, but yeah, there was a lot of smoke and a lot of ashes, and then when it changed the region, it created the Valley of the 10,000 Smokes. What's that, Mark?
Well, it's before Novarupta erupted, there were a series of earthquakes, and there were these minor vents in this area. So then it was called the Valley of 10,000 Smokes because it's like an valley area, and over here
there were lots of vents erupting,
that
right?
were open, and sometimes they shot out lava, but it was mostly smoking all the time.
Yeah, okay. So, we have a few facts for you about the eruption of this.
Yeah.
The first fact is that in Vancouver, which is way away, so all the way out the sea.
Yeah.
People there had hung up their washing to dry off, and
a few hours later, they found that it was all spoiled and faded.
And there was all these gases in the air, and there was not ash, but there was lots of gases and toxins. So the next fact is that when
Novarupta erupted, all the pumice that erupted went out to sea down here.
So the pumice came out here and landed on the sea there.
Yeah. Pumice is a rock that has a lot of air in it and it floats in water. And there's so much of that in this area that a man, could stand there.
Yeah, so here's a sample of pumice.
If you can't see it that well.
But yeah, it's got lots of little holes
in it, and it's really light.
Yep. So that all covered up here.
Yeah.
Okay, so the final fact is that the NASA scientists are now wondering that the eruption of Novarupta was that the reason that the summer monsoon in
India would have been changed because it didn't start raining as much, but there was a slight difference in it.
Okay, well,
because of all the gases that shot up.
Well, why don't we get back to the studio and talk this over and just sum everything up, shall we?
Sure, sounds like a really good idea.
Here we are back at the studio. Now we have a very special guest, a very, very special guest. Here we have Komoho Ginachi. He is a native Alaskan who is here to us to talk about a very interesting story that he has had passed down his family from his great-great-great-great-great-grandparents. Now, he has traveled a long way with us from from Novarupta, and he's been taken away from his village just for this. So let's all give him a round of applause. So Mark, what was this? So Buraga, what was the story that your grandfather told you?
Can I just say one thing first before you carry on? My name's Tom.
Okay, well, that's obviously his English name, but yes, so, yes, let's continue on with the story.
Well, my grandfather told me that his great-grandfather was going outside with his lantern during the Nova eruption, and he said that the ash and sulfur was so thick that he couldn't see his lantern an arm's length away from him.
Well,
It was that thick. And then after that, he had eye problems because of the toxins in the air.
well, doesn't seem like you would want to be there, all black and going blind. Well, that's all we have to say. Hope you've enjoyed.